good morning, and well, maybe not morning, maybe afternoon, maybe whenever you listen to it, good day, and welcome to the Beyond Sunday podcast. We are back together. I was on vacation last week. Michael divulged that to everybody. Talked a lot about me last week, which was very endearing and maybe exposed a little bit about me that maybe some people didn't know.
Are you okay with them knowing that now?
Well, the surprise of a scare can't always let people know that they're going to get scared. Because now I just want to scare everybody.
Yeah.
Just because Michael told everybody that's what I do.
Yeah.
And so I've got a great plan for Michael when he gets back. Because he's on vacation this week. And I've got a great plan. So nonetheless, I'm back.
Hey.
Back here in the saddle of the Beyond Sunday podcast. I'm joined by three other guys. We got Paxton.
Hello, hello.
We got David.
Hey.
And on the mic for 2 weeks in a row, our editor, our producer, Tate Wells.
Yeah, you guys just keep leaving. I have to keep on stepping up.
Well, that is who you are. You're the step-up man.
No.
We are so glad that Tate's here today. He's going to bring the truth. He's going to bring a lot of things that are going to make you guys go,
I can only hope.
But it really is. It really was a nice vacation last week, but I'm glad to be back. I feel like I've hit the ground running.
Tell everyone where you went.
Well, I went to Branson, Missouri, and enjoyed the beautiful scenery of those mountains over there. Yeah. It was a different kind of vacation for Heather and I than it was for my kids.
Yeah. Well, your kids also loved the mountains, I heard. They were so excited about it.
My kids went into it thinking we were just going to do all the things. And that wasn't the point of the trip.
Right.
The point of this trip was to relax and change the pace of life, which is a vacation to me.
Yeah.
As my parents have gotten older, that's what they like to do now. When we were younger, they'd be taking us to like Dollywood and stuff. Like,
oh yeah.
Well, slow down. So, are you saying that Josh is getting older?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in his 40s now, guys.
Oh,
Jeez.
So the most important question about a vacation in my mind is, what'd you have good to eat?
Well, we had the award-winning barbecue.
Yeah, I heard about this.
At a place, and it was tremendous. But shout out to Mindy Hargrove. Barbecue Shack in Pembroke is top notch for me.
It is quite good.
So I'm so thankful that we have barbecue here that puts others to shame. But we had that. We ate a few different things. We had a pizza place that was good, but really we cooked in the place.
Nice.
Not much. It was kind of snacky food, but when we ate out, it was good. But we're coming off of, what is this, week 3 of Wrecked Yet Renewed?
Yes.
Sermon series. Paxton, you brought the message on Sunday, and you had this illustration about the tiger.
Yeah.
The tiger that was a pet for a woman, and she taught the tiger how to hug her every time it was hungry. Well, what happens to a tiger when you feed it? It gets bigger, and over time it gets bigger, and it would hug her leg at the beginning, but it ended up, being much bigger than her and really doing some damage to her body as it would hug her. So this idea of we feed something that grows beyond what we can maybe handle.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking.
What did it get you thinking?
Did it get you thinking, Josh?
Good one, Tate. It got me thinking about my life, and I just had some thoughts that maybe you guys had something in your life, and I'm going to call this question, Feed the Tiger. Okay? Now, I'm not not literally a tiger. You guys don't have tigers. I know that. I know.
David actually does have a tiger.
Mm-hmm. You weren't supposed to tell Paxton that.
Oh, sorry. No tiger in the resident house.
But this is called Feed the Tiger. And what I want to do is I want to hear something about your life. Maybe it's right now. Maybe it has been in the past. Maybe it's an ongoing thing. But it could be funny. It could be maybe a little more serious. But maybe something like scrolling reels on Facebook till midnight. Like you get stuck in that swirly twirly reels game there. Or maybe like you can't say no to a deal. So like Amazon Prime days, you're constantly like, I need that. Whatever it is, I want you to tell us truthfully, like a desire, like the tiger that the lady had. The more you feed it, the bigger it gets. So let's be honest. And what is your tiger right now, or what has your tiger been? David.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go first. So I thought about this. I think there's been a couple of tigers for me, but I think the one that I think about the most is how when I was a teenager, I would be addicted to video games. And it started with, okay, I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to go to work at whatever fast food restaurant I was working at the time, and then I'm going to play Skyrim or Roblox or a game until I want to go to bed. And then it kind of grew into, well, let me spend money on this game. I like this game. Let me spend some money on it. And then it grew to, I really want to play this game, but it's already 11. What should I do? I'm just going to stay up. And then it grew into, I think I'm going to skip work to play this game. And then it grew to, man, I feel sick in quotations to play this game.
Skipping school.
Skipping school.
Man.
But I always did it with a lie. I didn't just skip school. My parents, they weren't going to have that. But yeah, I would have text messages upon text messages of people saying like, hey, let's go hang out, or hey, like, come have fun at, this house. But I'd be like, no, I'm sorry. I'm playing Skyrim.
Yeah, you did do that.
Yeah. Like Tate knows. And I would also put my phone away and ignore pretty much any person that wanted to get a hold of me because I was locked in on playing Skyrim. So that's kind of the thing I fed. But now, I think age has just stopped that for me.
Maturity.
Yeah, because I tried to get on Skyrim like last week, and I was like, dude, I just want to go to bed.
Like
I'm so tired.
You're like trying to start a family now. You can't think of that.
Yeah, I'm about to get married, and it's like okay. Like, I think I did one quest, and I was like, all right, this is boring. I'm logging off. I got stuff I got to do tomorrow.
All right, so I have one. And just because I want to divert the blame to somebody else, I'm going to say that my family, specifically my grandparents, built this into me. But they were collectors. They like to collect coins. They like to collect puzzles, all these different pieces of things. Not like hoarder level, but anytime, Cabbage Patch dolls, anytime there was something that was collectible in a series, baseball card, something like that, they would want to collect it. Well, what they did was they kind of viewed collecting as an investment for their grandkids.
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of gave them a reason to collect something. Now, my brothers, like my oldest brother, Gabe, he collected baseball cards because Grandma and Grandpa would give him baseball cards all the time. I mean, packs of it. Like, you got the whole box set. Mm-hmm. And so he has so many baseball cards. My brother Nate, he would collect, because Grandma and Grandpa, basketball cards. And then this one's a little bit embarrassing because I wasn't really into any of those things. Really wasn't into what they started collecting for me anyway. But you guys remember Beanie Babies?
Yeah.
I never had any of those.
Yeah, so I got 400 of them.
Oh my gosh.
400 Beanie Babies. And I remember, because I was the youngest of my siblings and 4 and 6 years behind my brothers, so Grandma and Grandpa were like my babysitters during the summer. And so we would go on these Beanie Baby hunts. And I mean, we were obsessed with it. I mean, we'd drive hours to go to these stores that got a new lot in, and they would call and be like, did you get the new iguanas in?
Wow.
We'd go, and there were rarities, and it got crazy. But I don't collect Beanie Babies anymore. I do have them because they decided that it was going to be investment for my college because I had nothing else to go to college with.
Used it all.
Are they even like valuable now?
I don't know,
Okay.
but I know where they are.
It might be.
Just in case.
Just in case. I mean, give it a 50 years.
Hey, yeah, you can send your grandkids to college.
That's
with them.
right. That's right, Paxton. Thank you. But the way that that's played out in my life is that I like to collect things as well. Most recently, I entered a competition or a sweepstakes, I guess I would call it, randomly because it was a Facebook ad for Dr. Squatch
Oh, yeah.
soap.
Uh-huh.
You guys heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's this natural men's soap, comes in a bar, and they have all these fun scents.
Pine tar is my favorite.
Pine tar.
Good stuff.
How many people use Dr. Squatch? I mean, we've all used
Actually,
it. I know that.
I'm using
I'm
Maverick
not
Bus right
using
now.
it currently. I do have a brick of it in my bathroom, but I'm not using it.
Yeah, so what that essentially did for me was start that collection need. So I won the sweepstakes. I won $500 worth of Dr. Squatch products. I'd never used Dr. Squatch before that. And so I won this product, and I got all the soaps, and I was like, I love these things. Made shower experience fun because they smelled different than like a Dove bar or whatever. But I ended up using all the 500, and then I needed the new bars that they came out with. So I'd buy the collections. I think I have 64 bars of soap.
Oh my god.
That you haven't used?
Where is
I haven't used.
They're just
So, and now I don't use Dr. Squatch.
yeah.
But that was the tiger that I fed
Yeah.
because of, I'm going to blame my grandparents again.
Yeah. David is having a hard time with this conversation because David is such a minimalist. Like, he doesn't want to have anything extra. He only owns 5 T-shirts.
That's actually true.
Yeah. Cheney last night or at work was like, I'm a good friend. I notice when you get new apparel. I'm like, well, it's not that difficult to notice because I only have 5 T-shirts.
This is my Monday shirt. My
Yeah.
Tuesday shirt.
Yeah. So the tiger for me, 2 things came to my mind really, really fast. The first one is competitiveness. And if I put myself in a situation where I feed that tiger, it gets bad. Like I can be super competitive to the point of it getting out of control. Sometimes that happens in games where I coach. The competition can get to me, and I can probably get a little out of hand. Happened last night, not gonna lie. So our head coach got a yellow card, and he didn't do anything. It was me. So that is a tiger I have to make sure that I do not feed. Otherwise, it'll get out of control. And I think along with that, anger can kind of be that way for myself. If I allow myself to feed that, I can let it get out of hand as well.
Yeah. Well, for me, when I was thinking about this, there were a lot of things that came to my mind, but one thing in particular that really stood out to me because it's something that recently I've had to take a step back from. Most of y'all probably know that I was involved with a little organization in town known as Campanile Productions. And I know that Jeff Riggs listens to this podcast, so I'm going to take this opportunity to explain to him why I've stepped away. And I'm sorry, Jeff. It's nothing against you. Jeff knows that I love him and his family. Ryan's one of my best friends. But when I started doing Campanile in college, it was like purely for fun. Like I'd done a few high school shows at Heritage while I was in school, and I realized, oh man, theater is actually really fun. I like performance. And I just like being in the ensemble, like I was in the ensemble for Sound of Music at HCA, and I was like, this is great. And so when I started, my first show was Peter Pan, and I had no expectations for who I was going to be in the show. I just wanted to be in it. I ended up being Smee alongside my cousin Jackson, who was Captain Hook, and that was awesome. That was so much fun. But as I continued doing Campanile, it stopped being about fun, and I was starting to do it for glory. I started showing up to these auditions wanting to get big parts. And if I wasn't getting a big part, I was getting really, really upset with myself to an extreme degree. And it wasn't just that. It was also that it was similar to you, Paxton. It started becoming like competitive.
Yeah.
And what was particularly bad about that is that I was always just the way that our age groups fell and our voice types and stuff. I was always going up against my best friends. I was always up against like Tucker, my little brother, Jackson, my cousin, and Ryan, one of my best friends. And that's how auditions pretty much always fell. I was up against one of them, at least. And so it just got to the point where it was tearing me up every single time I would step into an audition or go to callbacks, and to the point where after auditions were even over and once the show was cast and we were getting ready to rehearse and even moving on to performance, I would still be upset. Like throughout an entire show, I was still just like, I can't believe I let myself down this bad. I wish that I was doing more. And it got to the point where I was like, why am I even doing this? And it's because I wanted the prestige, and it was no longer just about doing it to get to hang out with people and have fun. And so that was a tiger I fed way too much. Like I would hear like inklings that they were going to do a show months in advance, and I would start listening to the parts that I wanted in that show months before and practicing so that I could do well in callbacks. And it was just really messing with my mental. And so I've had to take a step back.
Yeah, I think with all these things, that's like, it starts out innocent,
right,
and then it grows and it grows. And that's the funny thing about what it looks like to feed those little things without realizing it. Yeah. And we get to the end and it's like, man, this is not the person I want to be. Right. And that's really what this past week's message was about, the way that desire, if we're not careful, can start to consume us.
Yeah. Yeah, and it always does. I've said that in the sermon that, sometimes we feel like always and never are things you probably shouldn't say, because very few things are always. But man, there are some things about desire that are always true. Desire always leads somewhere, right? And it might be somewhere that we don't want to end up, like you were saying, Josh. We look up and we go, man, how in the world did I get here? I'm not the person that I want to be, not the person that I intended to be when this thing started out, but it is so true. And we see that in David's life, which is what we looked at on Sunday. We see the story of David and Bathsheba, and David is like this hero in Scripture, right? That we always teach our kids about. David and Goliath, this young boy who is destined to become king, and all the great things that he does. But in this story, we're not looking at one of those hero moments, but it's one of those failures. And I'm so thankful that Scripture does that. That it doesn't just paint all these biblical figures in a positive light, and it gives us the dirt on them, so to speak, where we can see these are real people just like us, who have struggles and have issues. And so those 3 points that we looked at that are always true of desire were: desire always leads somewhere, desire always grows when fed, just like those tigers in our life, and desire always finds justification. And we will do everything we can to justify those tigers that we're feeding. Right? I'm gonna pay for my grandkids to go to college.
That's right.
I'm gonna become a professional gamer. Was that ever you were spending money on games, but you never thought about making money from games?
I never thought about making. There was a time where I thought I could. But
okay, that's what I thought. I'm gonna get really good at this.
Yeah.
And the same is true for competition or theater, right? I have this desire, and I'm going to do everything I can to be the best at it.
Yeah.
And we want to justify it and act like it's a good thing, but many times our desires are misguided. But the good news is just like the story of David, God redeems David, and he can redeem our desires. And one of my favorite passages of Scripture right now is Psalm 37:4, where it says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He'll give you the desires of your heart." And I'm just so thankful that God doesn't want to keep things away from us, right? I think a lot of times we feel like these desires are things that we deserve, and God is trying to keep good things away. And in fact, the opposite is true. God only wants good things for us. And because He only wants good things, He's not going to let us settle for things that lead us somewhere that we don't want to be. And so when we focus our desires on Him, God can redeem those desires and give us desires that put us in places where He wants us to be. I think about the story of David, and in this moment, we see things begin to careen out of control and kind of go off the rails, if you will. And we know that it leads with death of Uriah, death with other Israelites, death of this son that he and Bathsheba are going to have. It leads to the rebellion of his son Absalom. It leads to so many problems within his family. But at the same time, this relationship also leads to Solomon, who becomes the wisest man and a great king in so many respects. And through this lineage, we know that Jesus comes on the scene. And so God has a way of redeeming stories that are terrible, and He can redeem our desires as well.
Yeah. Well, I loved that transition in your message. I mean, you kind of, while you were preaching it, we were looking at David and Bathsheba and how that just got worse and worse and worse. And then you said, but you know what? Desires can also be good.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I left with, going, okay, it's not bad to desire things. It's not bad to chase after something. It's not bad, honestly, to feed a tiger if the tiger is good.
That's right.
And my prayer all through this week since Sunday has been, God, let my desires be your desires.
Yeah.
So that I can see them come to fruition in the way that you desire them to.
Yeah.
Psalms tells us that He'll give us the desires of our hearts, but what do we have to do first? Delight in the Lord.
Yeah.
We have to desire the things that God desires in order to see true desire have that satisfying effect in our lives.
Yeah. There was a old, it's probably not as old as I think it is, or maybe it's much older, but there was an old worship song that said, "Give me one pure and holy passion. Give me one magnificent obsession. Give me one glorious ambition for my life, to know and follow hard after you." And
Want me to sing it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, no.
After we quit recording. But I've always loved that picture of, man, God gives us desires to chase after things with everything we've got, and to bring out those competitive pieces of us, to bring out that ambitious nature that He's placed within us. And if we focus that in the right direction, man, it can be incredible.
One of the things that we deal with, and Tate, when you talked about your tiger, is that self-promotion, that self-justification, those kind of things, like seeking the spotlight, seeking that big part in the musical, or, Paxton, thinking about sports, wanting to play that position that everybody wants to have.
Sure.
Having control of things. And it got me thinking about, don't say what you're thinking about, but
Okay.
it got me thinking about, in relation to delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give the desires of your heart. There's another verse that has stood out to me because I have in the past desired the limelight. I have felt like I was really good at something, and I desired to be in the front of things. I was humbled, but there was definitely a part of that process that required me to humble myself. And if God's given a desire in my life that I'm pursuing, I need to humble myself knowing that it's not me.
Yeah.
If anything is going to happen, it's going to be God. Yeah. And it takes me to 1 Peter 5:6. It says, "So humble yourselves under the mighty power of God, and at the right time, He will lift you up in honor."
Yeah.
It's not our job to lift ourselves up. It's not our job to place ourselves in a position that we get noticed, or place ourselves in a position that puts others kind of in our shadow. But instead, we humble ourselves before God. And if we are doing the things that God created us to do, He will lift us up and honor us in the way that He decides. It may not be the spotlight. It may not be that position. It may not be this grand idea that we have for ourselves, but we have to humble ourselves before God.
And I love that about you, Josh. So when you were younger, you desired a stage and for eyes to be on you. And since you humbled yourself and are seeking the Lord, now that you're 40 years old, as we said, you are on a stage, but you're doing it for another reason. You're doing it so that people can have their eyes on the Lord. And I love that. And I love that you had that desire. You wanted to be on that stage. But when you got your motives correct and you humbled yourself, God gave you that desire, but in a different way than you first saw. And I love that.
Just for me, the process that God's taken me on is He's taken me from that spotlight where I don't desire to be on the front, but the biggest joy that I have on a Sunday morning is stepping back and watching somebody else lead.
Yeah.
And them working out what God has placed in their life, and the skills and the talents and the passions that God has given them, being able to give them a platform where they can work that out. That's awesome. That is one of my biggest joys, and I think the natural progression of ministry has brought me there. Yeah. And 5 years ago, I thought, God, I don't want to be leading all the songs anymore. Like, I don't want to be the same person in 5 years that I am now. 10 years, what does that look like? 15, 20. I mean, I'm called to the ministry, so in my mind, ministry is what I'm going to do till the day I die. And I hope that is what God gifts me with. And hopefully it's a long life of ministry. But I can't be satisfied with a position today if I'm not allowing myself to grow to a different position in 5 years.
Yeah. So Josh highlighted a key thing where he had to humble himself and realize that it's not about him, and realize that God had better things for Josh that promoted God and not Josh himself. And that reminds me of the little boy with the sucker.
Okay.
And that's a highlight I got out of the sermon, because if you know me and my dad, that is exactly how I was raised.
Feel like that was a story of David and Mike.
My dad howled laughing because he was like, he knew. And what's funny is I talked to Maddie about it, and Maddie is this like sweet, loving person.
Who's Maddie?
My fiance, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry for those who are listening. She's my fiance. She loves kids and always wants to boost kids up. And when you said that, she was like, "Oh, that's so sad." And I was like, it's true. He knows his stuff. I mean, he's better off than some other kids. but that's just my personal preference, just because of my dad. But it got me thinking how I always want every single day. And a lot of the time I can be kind of like that kid asking God, God, I want to be a pastor. God, I want to be on a stage. God, I want to teach. And a lot of the time, it's easy for me to say I'm doing it for the right reasons, saying like, yeah, I want to disciple people and I want to grow them. But sometimes it's like, no, I just want to get on a stage and talk for 30 minutes. Or no, I want people to see me as a pastor, or call me Pastor David, and all these cool terms. But what it really takes is me to look back and look at what I really deserve. Yeah. And see that God has not given me that. God has not given me what I deserve. He's actually given me more things than I don't deserve. I deserve death and hell, just like the kids said. But what God has given me is He's given me an amazing fiance who I'm going to marry next year. He's given me a position at a church called Woodburn that I'm looking at to become a pastor for. He's given me the opportunity of walking alongside you guys at Newark Fellowship, who have, as the pastors, pour into me constantly and teach me how to walk as a pastor, or talk like a pastor, or obey what God's calling me to do. And so I look back at my life And it's like, God, ever since I was born, you were pushing me in this direction. And I don't deserve that. There's some people who it takes until they're 30 or 40 to get into the calling after they went through immense suffering. But for God, it's like, no, as soon as you're born, I'll lead you in that direction. And it's like, I don't deserve any of this. But you gave it to me anyway.
It's almost like he's reserved you for that. And I think all of us maybe in this room have that experience. Early on in my ministry, you'd hear these amazing testimonies of brokenness and life tragedy that somebody has come out of, and they're victorious on the other side because look what God has done in my life. And I dealt with that for a long time. I got saved when I was probably 7.5, I think. I did the math the other day, 7. And I didn't ever fall into this. I never dealt with this addiction. I never found myself in this low place in my life. But there's a testimony also in that where I thank God so much that I don't have to understand that side of it. I don't have to understand that side of redemption, but rather I can experience that through others and feel and empathize with those people. And I think that has what's been the driving force behind my pastor heart. Yeah. I knew at 15 I was called to the ministry. I surrendered to it at that time, and I knew that was the rest of my life. It's been fairly clear. Yeah. I haven't had to ask the question, God, what do you have for my life? Yeah. I feel like I felt the call and I stepped into it, and it's been such a reward. It hasn't been easy all the times, and it hasn't always been rewarding, but it's a commitment that I've made to God because He's almost reserved me for it in my mind.
Yeah. You know, I didn't realize my call to ministry until fairly recently. But going back to desire, I've always, even talking about Campanile, like I was talking about earlier, I've always had the desire to use this musical talent that God has given me, and I think that for the longest time, I thought that I needed to use that for myself, but I think that God has redeemed that desire in me and showed me, like, the reason I gave this to you is so that you can glorify me, and it's not at all for yourself. It's not at all about what you can do, but it's about what I've given you and what I'm going to do through you. And so maybe that's something that we all need to be thinking about, is what is a desire that God has given us that He can redeem, or that He's given us for the purpose of glorifying Him.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I think that's in all of us too. I think everybody has that thing.
No matter what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah, whether it's ministry or vocationally, God has gifted and given you desires to bring honor and glory to Him. Yeah. And so that's good. You know, David, I was thinking, you brought up the story of the little boy and the sucker. That would be a great trick-or-treating opportunity. As kids come up and say, trick or treat, you can say, do you deserve this candy?
Oh, yeah.
Don't put that in his mind, Paxton.
You only give candy to the kids who know what they do deserve. Yeah. What is that, David?
Death and hell.
Are you going to have a booth? I mean, we're going to have an opportunity for kids to do some trick-or-treating at the church.
It's just going to be like fire and flames in my trunk.
This is where you're headed. This is what you deserve. Yeah, that's coming up soon.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They kind of snuck up on us.
Yeah, it's here.
It really did.
But October 26th, that's a Sunday night, from 4 to 7, we're going to have Harvest Fest. And Cheney talked about it at the closing on Sunday, but Harvest Fest is one of our biggest outreaches that we have at the church. Yes. We have, she said, 3,000 to 4,000 people, and that is legitimately what it could be.
Yeah, absolutely could.
There's going to be trunk or treat. There's going to be hay rides. There's going to be games. There's going to be all these different things for the community experience. Of course, we're going to pass out candy. So if we're going to pass out candy, we need candy. Yeah. Everybody, just next time you're in Walmart, grab a bag, throw it into the little kiddie pools in the commons area. But we're going to pass out candy. But the biggest part of the night is that we're going to share the gospel with everybody there. And that is going to be a kind of a unique thing this year. But we need volunteers. So if you access your app, your Church Center app, you can find a place to volunteer. We're coming up on less than 2 weeks away. So we need everybody to understand that this is a mission opportunity. Some people want to know, like, well, what can I do for missions? Here it is. This is easy. Yeah. This is right in your backyard. This is the potential to change our community to look more like the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And so that's coming up on October 26th. And we continue on with our sermon series this week. Pastor Evan Ryan, middle school pastor here, is going to be bringing the next message on Wrecked Yet Renewed, and he's going to be focusing on bitterness.
Something nobody can identify with.
Yeah, I have no clue what that is.
Never been bitter.
Never felt that before, no.
But as always, guys, there's a button, and nobody's done it yet.
Please.
There is a button at the bottom of the podcast description each week that is engagement for us. We'd love to know what hit you this week. We'd love to know what you're dealing with this week. We'd love to know, let's be specific. What is something you've wanted recently that turned out to be not as satisfying as you hoped it would be? Like, we want to hear from you, and maybe we'll talk about it on the podcast in the following week, but we just want to know that you're hearing from God in the way that we are as well. But we're so excited that you joined us today.
Yep.
Is it me?
Oh, yeah, it's you.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you listening each and every week, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday or the next time we get together on this podcast.
See ya, everybody.
Bye, guys.